開始。
参ります。本気で行かせてもらいます。
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Briareos Kerensky and welcome to the fifth and final part of Crimson Shadows, my Senran Kagura retrospective. After 2019, Senran Kagura was pretty much dead, with its creator Kenichiro Takaki leaving the publisher, Marvelous, due to unforeseen changes in what Sony would allow on their platforms. For more than a year, the only thing that kept Senran Kagura alive was a lone mobile game, until out of the blue, during their update stream aired on March 7, 2021, Compile Heart revealed Senran Nin Nin Ninja Taisen Neptune, Shoujotachi no Kyoen, a cross between Neptunia and Senran Kagura. Development is by Tamsoft, and the Japanese release date is set for September 2021. America and Europe will get their version of the game a month later. Japan got a limited edition along other retailer-specific bonus packages like Famitsu or Ami-Ami, and Idea Factory will publish a slightly different limited package for the rest of the world. As I'm writing this, only a few snippets of the game have been shown, along some original characters and a series of returning girls from both franchises. The feeling I have is that this is more of a Neptunia spin-off revolving around the shinobi world, rather than a proper collaboration with Senran Kagura, as the game also features a host of brand new characters and ninjas from other franchises, like a gender-bent God the Crow, who hails from two games of the Shinobido series. In fact, a closer look to all limited editions highlights a serious lack of bonus material for the Kagura girls, which is very disappointing for fans of the series. Combat looks a bit more technical than Senran Kagura, with emphasis on special attacks and elemental attributes more than anything, to the point that the interface doesn't even show a combo counter. I haven't played any of the Neptune action games by Tamsoft, so I don't really know if this is the same system using those, an evolution of that, or something completely new. No destroyable clothes have been shown, and it's doubtful there will be. There is fanservice, but it's way closer to other Compile Heart games, which is quite different from what Senran Kagura did. I know this might sound a bit strange for some, but Compile Heart and Takaki had very different styles when it came to girls, so I'm somewhat curious on how this aspect of the game will turn out to be. Despite being published by Compile Heart, a company I have no sympathy for, it is developed by Tamsoft, so I'm cautiously hoping for a good game. And who knows, if this goes well, Marvelous will actually do something with one of their premier franchises again. It won't be the same thing without Takaki, but I'd love to see where Senran Kagura can go. Speaking of crossovers, Nin Nin Ninja is not the first time Senran Kagura characters appeared in games not published by Marvelous, with Homura and Yumi appearing in the beat-em-ups Nitroplus Blasterz and BlazBlue cross-tag battle respectively. Asuka still has to find her way into Smash, which is kinda surprising. I mean, you never have enough sword fighters. Before drawing this series to a close, I'd like to explore what Takaki did during his tenure at Marvelous, just for the sake of completeness. His first game there was the 2005 Red Ninja End of Honor for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, which stars, surprise surprise, a well-endowed shinobi in a skimpy red dress. Takaki was a designer and Shinsuke Sato was the main writer. Following that, he worked on two Mahou Sensei Negima games. The first, Negima Choma Hora Taisen Shu Chekin Zenin Shugo Yapparion Senki Chai Mashita, hopefully I haven't lost anything in there, is a turn-based strategy game for the DS, and the second, Mahou Sensei Negima Neo Pactio Fight, is a 3D action game for the Wii. Both games came out in 2007. Still in 2007 it was the turn for Takaki's first Ikitosen game, Shining Dragon for the PS2. It's worth mentioning that Valcon Games licensed the game for America, completed the translation, online retailers listed the game for pre-order, and the game was submitted to the ESRB for rating. The ESRB gave it a mature rating, higher than what the publisher desired, and they abandoned a seemingly finished game. Pity. The year after, he worked on Valhalla Knights 2 and two Toll of Ru games for the DS and PSP, which to my understanding are very similar, only that the DS version has some enhancements. Toll of Ru and a touchscreen, guess the results. 2008 concluded with Ikito's An Eloquent Fist and a half-minute hero. After returning to Valhalla Knights one more time in 2009, Takaki worked on the adventure game Sakura Note and the weirdly charming Lively Garden, before working on his third Ikitosen game, X-Cross Impact, pretty much cementing his reputation as the Bakunyu producer. The Ikitosen games are of particular interest, as it's easy to draw more than one comparison between those and the first Senran Kagura. Senran Kagura is faster and takes less inspiration from Final Fight and the like, but both series share an emphasis on combos and it's impossible not to compare the main protagonists of both series. Incidentally, Senran Kagura and Ikitosen will have several collaboration events in multiple games. 2011 started with the second half-minute hero, and after that you should know what happens. After creating Senran Kagura, Takaki didn't focus exclusively on that. For example, in 2015 he was the lead developer for the rhythmic game IA/VT Colorful, and more importantly, he tried to launch other franchises featuring beautiful girls.
Viola-san, よろしくお願いします。ええ、よろしく。足手まといにはなりません。準備はいい？リーちゃん腹ペコだよ。先が思いやられる。
The first of those was Valkyrie Drive, a multimedia project comprising a Vita game, a mobile game and an anime series. The Vita game, named Valkyrie Drive Bikuni, was developed by Meteorize, the same studio behind Senran Kagura Bon Appetit, and, simply put, it was a mess. Combat was boring, only to severely spike in difficulty in the last chapters, and the platforming sections, luckily limited to secret areas, were atrocious. The mobile game, subtitled Siren, lasted for less than a year, from December 2015 to July 2016. The anime series had a decent budget behind, with good animations and drawings. There were also two mangas, but overall the franchise was quickly forgotten. In 2017 Takaki directed Uppers, another 3D brawler, but this time the protagonists were male high school students, with girls relegated as secondary characters or to provide fanservice, which actually ties into the game mechanics. The developer, Bullets, is not new to the genre, having created the Kenkabancho series, of which only the third chapter out of 6 reached Western shores. Uppers scored abysmal sale figures in Japan, selling less than 1,000 copies in its first week, and even before the game was delayed due to not enough pre-orders. This is unfortunate because the game is actually good, and I would rate it better than all of the Versus Senran Kagura. It remained a Japanese exclusive for the longest time, up till when online retailer PlayAsia teased a PlayStation 4 version of the game with English text. I did pre-order that, but after a year of delays, the port was dropped, only to reappear on PCs in October 2020, along all the DLCs of the original Vita version, Daidoji included.
Machine の操縦は任せた。
After these unsuccessful attempts, Takaki did focus on Senran Kagura until 2019, when he took another swing at a new franchise that would eschew fighting for racing, Kandagawa Jet Girls. Another multimedia franchise, Kandagawa Jet Girls comprised of an anime series that aired in 2019 and a PlayStation 4 game published in January 2020. The anime series once again had a good budget, but it was hardly a record breaker. Kandagawa Jet Girls connected to Senran Kagura with not just its water guns, which looked like straight out of Peach Beach Splash, but also with a good number of DLC characters. The game was much better conceived than Valkyrie Drive, but it did suffer from a very poor AI and an interesting track design. Unfortunately, Kandagawa Jet Girls was again quickly forgotten. And this probably did create some tensions between Takaki and Marvelous, although this is purely my speculation if none of the involved parties would confirm this. After his move to Cygames, Takaki was first involved in Project Awakening, a fantasy game currently without a release date. Takaki also played an advisory role in BlazBlue Fantasy Versus and the yet-to-be-published, if that will ever happen, BlazBlue Fantasy Relink. More recently, Cygames announced Project GAMM, or GAMM, with Takaki as director and producer. Information is scarce, with no release date or platforms, just a bunch of screenshots and key art, and that the game has a large multiplayer component. Marvelous are still around, publishing and developing games on all active platforms and even arcade machines. Honey Parade Games is still active within Marvelous, managing whatever is left of Senran Kagura. Tamsoft continue to produce a lot of titles, their quality varying greatly between franchises and even between games of the same franchise. Meteor Eyes exist, but have long abandoned console development, focusing on mobile games that open and close within the blink of an eye. Exceed are still providing translation services to their parent company Marvelous, as well as many other companies like Nihon Falcom and Dark System Works. And with this, the sun sets on this retrospective, merging the crimson shadows into a uniform darkness from which I really hope Senran Kagura would emerge once again, better than ever. 10 years ago, on this very day, everything started with a simple premise, and it worked great. There were some bumps on the road that would rival the protagonist's bosoms, and the series closed with a whimper rather than with a bang, but not all hope is lost. I host a small YouTube channel, but I really hope that what I did will help Senran Kagura to continue existing, even by the tiniest bit. Doing this retrospective was fun, but also very time-consuming and expensive, as I stubbornly tracked down a Western copy of all Senran Kagura games, despite already having the Japanese edition, so don't expect anything like this anytime soon. I initially thought I would just cover the video games, but then it ballooned to cover everything I could find. I also left out some things on purpose, like aggregate scores or computer release dates. This is because I wanted to recount how I see the games and how I first experienced them. I surely have missed something, and I didn't cover the figures, for example, but I wanted to keep a focus on video games without reiterating my reviews too much, so you'll have to excuse me if I've glossed over some details. I hope you have enjoyed these 5 videos and you will stick around for more. Briareos Kerensky, over and out.